Good morning, Daniel. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad to have you here today.
Good morning. Good morning, Paul. It's good to see you.
So let's give a little background here. So you work at Hibshman Screw Machine Products, and you and I were talking at an NTMA meeting a few weeks ago, and you told me an amazing story of working at Hibshman, and I just was you actually brought me to tears, quite honestly. And I was there with my wife, and we were, having that sort of fun evening at the the Country Music or Music Hall of Fame in Nashville there. And the story you told of how your job at Hibshman and moving into, the precision machining world, and the background and job you came from prior was really a transformation of your life. And, this podcast is called Manufacturing Transformed, which, as I said to you, is typically about the story of ProShop helping to make a digital transformation with our customers. But for you, this transformation, which ProShop has been a part of for the last couple of years, but for many years prior, like manufacturing job in the industry has really transformed your life. So I would love for you to have you share your story. I think it probably resonate with so many people and be really inspiring. So if you're willing, let's go back and kind of share how you got into the industry and the impacts that it's had on your life.
Okay. I started manufacturing probably back in high school. We had a wood shop and a metal shop there in high school, and it was something I gravitated to, so I was real good at reading mics. My math isn't so bad, so it was kind of like, okay. And I liked working on the machines. You got a manual lathe and mill and stuff. That's what I started welding. And all my friends that I had kind of were some type of manufacturing. They do something in that field or something, welding or mechanic or something. So I've always been good with my hands on, but that started when I was young. I grew up as a twin, and me and him ran all over. We didn't.
Okay. And where did you grow up?
Constantine, Michigan. But kind of right here where Hibshman is my home. I played in the backyard more or less. I knew the owner here at Hibshman, Mike Hibshman, and Gary. Even before Chad started working here 19 years ago or so, but I've always been around it. So, yeah. And, and then when I worked on a hog farm since I was 12, because, I always
12.
Yeah. Wow. You start picking rocks early, I'm a Michigan rock farmer, or hillbilly, you'd say. Okay. But, it kept me out of trouble. I had my teen years, my dad wasn't really in it much, dealing with their drug abuse and whatnot, which everybody's their own. I have great parents. They're awesome people, great hearted people. Just their decisions weren't in the right place, but it gave, kind of gave me the resilience growing up to be able to, find my way. It's my choice, nobody else's choice. I see people make excuses, they're excuses. You do have a choice in life. You don't have to follow those same paths. I got an older brother that, he went to prison for drugs, when I was young, and, he's doing great now. I'm glad he got out of it. But, I could have easily fell down that same path. Yeah. But I always wanted to, I don't know what it is. My brother's more like my dad. So he kind of, falls down that line. He falls down quite often, but, he's lucky he's got a brother like me to pick him up. But it's been like that ever since we were little. He was, even though we're twins, I've kind of been coaching him through life and everything. And it's great having a twin. You always have somebody to play with, but seeing somebody go down that same path but you grow up seeing all these bad things in life, and it's like, man, why do people let themselves get that way? Like I've never been one to want to be like that. I wanted to be successful in life. I want my kid to be successful in life. And, I'm so glad I'm here at where I'm at to give my child the opportunities I never had. but hard work pays off. And I, started working at a hog farm when I was 12, making $5 an hour. And I made that until I was 18. And then
Wow.
I went in the hog farming. That's what my dad did for 30 years. He was a hog farmer. So, I had to do a little bit of it, but I thought about going into the Marines when I turned about 20, and I was doing all the tests and stuff, going to get my physical because I just wanted to do better in life, and I thought the Marines was going to be it. And my grandpa gets a hold of me. I'm still working at the farm, and he's like, well, come work part-time over here at Justin Manufacturing, another machine shop down here in Elkhart, just 20 minutes away. And I'm a fourth generation machinist, really, is what my great grandfather got my grandpa into it. My grandpa got my uncle into it. And then here I am doing the same things, running the same old machines they did back in the 1920s. I grew up on Acme Gridley's multi-spindles. So I love those machines. I could tear them apart, put them back together. I just love digging into them. It's kind of hard being a manager now, and I don't get to dig into them every day. So it's hard for me. And they're like, you got to step back a little bit. I'm like, well, I just want to go dig in one. I like. I'm gonna be the guy at the end of the day that I might do the least amount of work or something, but I am the dirtiest person out there.
Right.
I look like I done rolled around. But my grandpa got me into it. He worked second shift all of his life. You could definitely tell the absentee for a father not being there for his kids after school and stuff. Sure. Because a lot of my family, they fell into bad times and done some stuff that just you shouldn't do, but you live and learn, I guess, but sometimes it takes a lot longer to learn it. But we are always a real close family for the most part. It's just, they all just kind of went the same ways every time. But my grandpa, thank God he got me in the machining. Here I am. Worked with him for 4 years. And he
at the other company. You worked with him for 4 years. Okay.
Yeah.
And then when did you make the transition to Hibshman? Tell us that part.
2016. I've been here for 8 years, I would say.
Okay. So did you go to the other shop around 2012 or so, and then 4 years there, and then moved over?
It was 2010 when I went there, and then I fell on bad times, and I actually got let go of that job. But
really?
Just
the economy, or the company wasn't doing well, or
women.
Women. Okay. So self-inflicted bad times.
Self-inflicted bad times, but I got out of that. And I went and worked at another farm down the road from my parents because I moved back in with my parents. And, they've always been there to help me. It's just, I just don't, I don't try to hang around too much. But my mom, thank the Lord, she divorced my dad and she's doing great. She works here at the shop with me. I got her a job here. She's doing fantastic. Oh, wow. So, it just took 35 years, but here she is. She's doing great. So I enjoy seeing her every day.
That's awesome.
I see her more now than I did when I was a kid. So,
wow.
And then I worked at a farm for 2 years, and I got with my wife, and she's driven the bus for me this whole time because she just drives me to do better every day. She's a continuous improvement consultant, and she's just all about lean all the time, and that's what drives me to do what I do here at Hibshman. Yeah. And
I've seen her posts on LinkedIn. Yeah. They're fantastic. She really looks like she lives it and loves it.
That's what you do. When you teach it, you got to show the passion, because if you show the passion, then other people will get passionate about it. Yeah. But that's what Coach M would say anyways. I loved all those little things with the NTMA. Yeah. And stuff.
So then tell us so you worked at a hog farm again, and tell us the process of applying and choosing to come to work at Hibshman.
Well, that's where I drove by one day. I wasn't, me and the wife are barely making ends meet. We lived below a restaurant, I wasn't making very much money. And I had all this experience in Acme Gridley's and machining from my old job at Justin's. And the wife's like, why don't you get back into that? Because, I made good money when I did that.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I just got to find a place I want to. Well, Hibshman's is right here, and I was 2 minutes down the road. And I drove by one day, and I seen that they had a sign up that said hiring, and
Oh, wow.
and I just walked in the door and was like, looking for a job. Would like to see what you guys got going on. And, that was the first time I walked in this shop since I was 16. And,
Okay.
the shop was dirty and dingy, not very bright. The guys that they had running for them, they weren't good people. I'm real good at picking them out. So I'm like, these guys are going to run the shop in the ground. That's all there is to it. I felt like Mike Hibshman was like a grandfather to me. I called him Gramps, grew up with his grandson and for years. And so, I feel like I'm a part of this shop. I went and worked on the cow farm down the road that Chad talks about. So, I love this place. I couldn't believe, I don't want to be anywhere else.
Yeah.
So
clearly you walked in, they hired you. Now, was it a coincidence that you had experience with Acme Gridley machines, or at this other shop, Jessen, I think you said it's called?
Yep.
So, or did you know that Hibshman already had these kind of machines that you were really good at?
I knew they had the machines. So okay. I was like, I'll just go in there and, I walked around with their manager at the time, the plant foreman, and he walked me around, and I'm looking at these machines and I'm like, I've seen a good machine, and these ones need a lot of work. Because when I left Jessen's, all I ever did was set up and operate. I never dug into a machine like I have here.
Sort of preventative maintenance and rebuilding them and keeping them tuned up.
So I came in here and I was supervisor within a year.
Cool.
We started getting rid of some of the bad eggs around that were in the shop, and you'd have guys come in here and they just tinker around with stuff that's already running. Like, what do you, come on, it's running. Leave it alone. Let the guys run it. Well, I just felt like there was something wrong with it, but but we got rid of all them people, and we started cleaning and organizing, and I've done our whole secondary department. I've done ripped the whole thing apart and moved everything in it. So, I don't like cells. I like a straight streamline. I like to be able to see the front of the shop to the back of the shop and see everybody. I want everybody to see everybody. We've been working on our culture here. If you see everybody, you talk to everybody. I like, my brother, me and him, he worked for me for a little bit, and that was some fun times, because you can only imagine the pranks we pulled on each other.
Did he work with you here at Hibshman, or?
He climbs trees now. So he's a tree climber.
Okay. Like arborist, cutting trees and stuff.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
Yep. He's really good at it. Really good at it. I've done it a couple times, and it's really high up here.
It's not a job I would want. That's for sure.
But yeah, he worked with me, so everything was greased all the time. So it was his hammers. Every time he'd come and try to grab one, grease hand. It was just put the tape up in the doorways, let him walk into it,
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh yeah, we were mean to each other. But I'm grateful for Chad letting me bring him in, letting him work with us, because he's a hard worker. So, but now he owns his own business, so he's doing a lot better.
That's cool.
So, but then I got my mom here, so that's fun.
So, and what kind of work does your mom do there?
She's just light assembly. She assembles all the brackets here and stuff, because we make millions of brackets, and we machine the ball studs and make the brackets all, and then she assembles them all.
Very cool.
Yep, right here in house. So,
and I think you even said to me, a few weeks back, that did your grandpa come and work at Hibshman as well?
Yep, he did.
And you were his boss.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
It's fun. It's interesting because but my grandpa, he's real down to earth. He listens, but the thing that I got from it was he came here, worked for about a year. I had him training the guy on second shift because it gave him somebody to work with that was knowledgeable and stuff. But, and he was 81. He turned 81 this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he's retired about 5 times now, I'd say. He just
Sure.
and he told me the other day, he's like, "Well, let me know when you want me to come back to work. I'm getting pretty bored."
I was going to
So
say, sounds like the kind of guy that needs to stay busy doing something.
yeah, well, he's one of those. He's an 81-year-old that'll go have a squirt gun fight with your kid.
I love it.
It's just he's a big inspiration for me in life.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted to be like him. The work ethic, and
Mm-hmm.
if he can do it at 81, I'd love to be able to do it until I'm 81. So I told
Yeah.
you, he's giving me my little hints about don't use my hand as a hammer, but
Sure.
I was a pro fighter, so I used my hand as a hammer a lot. And so
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Huh. Interesting. So, so obviously, for you personally, coming to work at Hibshman was a nice pay bump, at least initially, from the
Yeah.
hog farm. Now you told me you were able to buy a home. What other impacts has working there had personally on you? You're now in management, obviously, so you've continued to move your way up the company.
Yeah, I tell Chad my 5-year plan every time, like I told him, well, my 5-year plan is the plant manager, more or less,
Mm-hmm.
and then, my next 5-year plan is the vice president.
There you go.
I like, I like driving forward all the time, there's always a position you can get up to,
Mm-hmm.
never settle, and, let yourself be heard. I think that's what this company's helped me. I've never really been a real quiet person, but I wasn't a very sociable person. So, it's helped me learn how to talk to people. I wouldn't mind to get into a little bit of sales and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's helped me with my home life because, I've learned to be more patient. And, all these little things, Chad puts me in coaching classes, management classes. So it's helped me to deal with people so much better,
Mm-hmm.
and let the people be heard.
Yeah.
I'm big on that. They have a process, they know how to do it. Let them do their process, and I've learned that. It ain't my way; it's their way. So,
Mm-hmm.
and don't try to tell them any different. Because they know the right way. So, especially being in management now, because I was out on the floor forever. But now
Sure.
that I'm management, you got to step back and just watch and learn.
Yeah, I'm curious. How do you balance? I totally resonates. The people on the front line of manufacturing, they're the ones experiencing, the issues and the problems all day, every day, more than anyone else. But sometimes, and I'm sure you can understand this from, the work your wife does, there's leaner ways to do something, right? There's
Yes.
ways that you can remove waste out of the process and get more optimized, less motion, less transportation, less scrap,
Yep.
whatever. So how do you balance trying to instill those best practices and lean out the process with what you said before, where you're really just trying to, listen to the people doing the work?
I'm not trying to push,
Mm-hmm. You try to
and
get them to buy in and like it's their idea that let's,
I I don't like the buy-in word.
okay,
I want you
let's
to
talk
be
about that.
in. I want you to be
Oh, there
in.
you go. There you go.
Yeah, don't
I
don't
like,
buy in. I want you to be in because I'm not trying to sell you something. I want you to be in it. So if bringing your idea in, letting you be a part of it is making you be in it, then that's the way we're gonna do it.
mm-hmm.
I've learned that there's people that just want to be told what to do, and there's just people that want to be heard, but they don't want to take the responsibility to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So my guys, every time they come up, they know it. As soon as they come up and they're like, "Hey, I got an idea," watch yourself because you're going to be doing something here in a minute. Because that is a great idea. Let's see you execute it. I want the power to be in the people to be able to do what they think is best, because 90% of the time it is what is best. It makes their job a little easier, makes you want to come into work the next day. You ain't I don't want you to be that driver coming to work and going, oh, I don't want to do this today. I'm going to turn around.
Right.
I want you to come to work and be excited about it. I'm going to come to work and I'm going to learn something today, or we changed something, so it's going to make my life easier. So I'm excited about it. So, maybe we made this a little faster or just a little easier, so my day ain't so dreadful.
Hmm. I
So
love that sentiment.
yeah.
So it sounds like to me, just from the outside and listening to you say that, you've really you and the team have gotten the culture of continuous improvement like embedded deep. And so people are excited about that. They're driving for it. They want it. And when they get it, that energizes them. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, and I think that's where ProShop was a big part of our lean journey and stuff, because now I'm like, well, what can we do with it for lean? And so
Right.
I look at all the audits and I'm going through and I'm like, oh, they got a 5S thing.
Hmm.
Perfect. Let's dig into that. And everything on ProShop is, I can make it my way.
Hmm.
You guys got me 80% of the way there, and
Hmm.
now I got the rest of the 20% to tweak things, and I think that's great. It makes everybody sees it. Everybody sees the
Right.
things that are happening, and it's helped with people being okay with change, because
Hmm.
nobody's okay with change and they have a hard time with it. And,
Hmm.
this is the way it's always been done. Yeah, but let's change it a little bit. Let's try something new,
Right.
and I think that's where Pro Shops kind of helped a lot of people, and our group here ain't a real old group either. So it ain't like I'm not dealing with 60-year-old. Like, we got a couple 60-year-olds, but not too many. A lot of people, I get it all the time that our shop is either really clean or this is a young group of machinists here, because
Mm.
everybody's either early 40s or
Hmm.
younger here.
Right.
So, and that's the
That's a
team I've built, because they're more acceptable to change too. So
yeah.
it's made everything a lot easier, because you think, oh, office people are going to be the easy ones to train on Pro Shop. No, it was the operators, just because they had more communication. It
Mm.
helped with the communication. They were seeing stuff in real time. They
Mm.
didn't have to go you search for a work order. I don't know how many times you get an order in and it's like, this is hot. Really? It's like, did you charge that customer extra? No, it was underneath my folder and I didn't see it for 2 weeks. You know,
Oh, okay.
like,
So this
wow,
is pre-Pro Shop. Yeah, I did
free
want to
pro
ask
shop.
you,
Yeah.
you've been there many years now. Can you kind of summarize, the difference between working in a shop that had paper-based, travelers and
Yeah.
drawings and inspection sheets versus what you're doing today, all digital?
Well, you're chasing your tail more or less when you don't have all this stuff that's digital now. I still print off a print and hang it up and I still write on it. You know, I still
Sure.
I still do those type of things, but I'm not going to look for that guy for that print or that traveler. You ain't
Hmm.
looking for that work order.
Sure.
It's right there, and it's just a little click of a button away, and that's made my life so much easier. I can be out in my tree stand and be like, what are they getting done today? That's
I
that's
remembered
nice.
I
You
remember
know,
seeing a picture. Chad shared that you're out hunting and
well,
checking in on the shop.
don't worry, I was doing it this morning too. So
Were you out in a tree stand this morning?
yeah, I got them up right behind the shop.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
I
You
tell
really guys. Okay.
I got it made. I got it made. Like I said, it ain't money about being rich. I'm rich, you know. So, but it changed everything. It made our
Hmm.
lives easier. It made my life like I come to work like, what am I gonna do today? Because everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. I don't have to.
Mm.
It's all right there in front of their face. They know what the next setup is. Go look at the schedule. Oh, there it is. That's my next task. So, and a lot of self starters here. So
Right.
now I'm just here to solve some. Well, that burr's too bad. You probably should fix that, or um, just giving a
Mm.
little bit of directions here. I need something else to do because we're done with this. Like orders are getting done faster. You know,
Right.
we're able to see when they're going to be done. That's the key thing, is we can see when they're going to be done.
Right.
And, 90% of the time it's done before that. So
That's cool.
because we can push it.
Yeah. So let me see if I can interpret what you said there. It sounds like prior to ProShop, you were spending a lot more of your time problem solving, triaging things, telling people what to do, playing catch up. I don't know, just things in that sort of realm of category. And now things are just running more smoothly, more according to plan. You're not out there like, trying to help people solve problems besides maybe more strategic things or just like refinements to the process.
Yep.
Does that sound like I'm characterizing that right?
Yes. Yes. Because, like when we come in the morning, it used to be put out a fire every morning. Somebody'd come in, they'd see, because we run a second shift, something wrecked. And they come in the morning and they didn't know all night that wrecked. Before I come into work, I check my messages. I look and see what's going on, just so when I get to work, I'm not caught off guard, So
Right.
it helps me game plan on the way in. Like, okay, I got this going on. I'm expecting this person to come to me and say something about this. 90% of the time I can write them a message back real fast, so they see it first thing in the morning and they know I'm on top of it. They just
You're
want.
talking about the ProShop messaging system.
Yep.
Is that right? Okay.
Yep.
So when you would come in, I just wanted to come back to something you said, putting out a fire, like, a second shift, something happened and you had a bunch of scrap or something. Is that specifically because you've now been doing a better job on like in-process QC checking and making sure you're making good parts and the machining process is stable? And prior to that, you weren't as much. And so you might come into a pile of scrap parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happened quite often. I used to do everything on Excel. So
Okay. Yeah.
nobody would see, if you didn't know about it, you weren't seeing it, like with the efficiencies and stuff, because we use the value added numbers a lot and stuff, so people know what they're doing. Now I got people trying to beat it all the time, like I got 90% this week. I'm gonna try to do 95,
That's
so
awesome.
they're trying to beat it now. So, and that's what I love it when they say it's going to be a game.
Right.
Perfect. I want you to win that game every day. You might not, but that's a learning experience. So,
I love that so much. So one of the things I'd love to hear your perspective on this, one of the things that, starting several years ago, we would get a customer in front of a camera and just do like a testimonial, video. And one of the default questions I would ask them is, have you seen your throughput increase since you put ProShop in? And, or what percentage of increase, that's like a question. And I swear that the most common response that we would get would be, oh yeah, we've seen throughput increase by like 25%. And I'm like, well, did you, hire a bunch more people or add a bunch more machines? No, it's just the same people, pretty much same machines, more or less, but 25% more throughput just on the shop. And I'm like, how is that happening? And there's there's answers like, well, our setup times are lower and this or that. But I'd love to hear from your perspective, because it sounds like you guys have seen a lot of actual throughput improvements. Maybe a list, the top 5 or whatever, of just like the things that ProShop has helped with throughput, the actual sort of tactical things, very real world on the shop floor that's helped with.
like we have all these old machines here, and they would say we got a 30-second cycle time. Well,
Okay.
now we see the cycle time, and it's like, you were never hitting that. How can we improve that now? So now, we're right there. We know exactly how many pieces we're running per hour now. So it helps, everybody understand, like, we need to improve this process some way
Just
or
by
another.
tracking
Just
the rate you're making parts.
Yep. And
Okay.
that's helped us a ton, but that helps with, our on-time delivery. We went from 76% up to, we run probably an even 94% now. Since
Awesome.
since the day we started with you. It's
Right.
just you watched it, but that's because we're seeing the actual times for these machines. Um, the and everybody sees it. Our setup times are faster because
Hmm.
like we can see when we set up a new job how slow we are. Well,
Hmm.
now we got all the information there, so now the
Got it.
next time, but you see it gradually going up. It's just having the stuff in front of us to see all these
Hmm.
numbers from everything that like what jobs are we actually winning on and which
Mm.
ones are we losing on. So
So job costing and
yeah,
profitability.
oh yeah, definitely we see that. Like me and Matt here, we dig on that all the time. Is
Mm.
what are we winning at and what are we losing at. So we've definitely seen those numbers. You go to the profit breakdown, you see all these big negative numbers. We
Hmm.
just see little negative numbers now. We don't see a real
Sure.
big negative number, and that's helped us a ton with our setup and our costing
Yeah.
when it comes to
Can
that.
you give us an example, if you can remember one, a part number that was maybe really unprofitable that you didn't realize until you saw the data, and then what you did about it to make it either positive or, closer to break even?
One of our we make this little ball stud that goes on our brackets. It's for gas spring brackets, so they snap on.
Hmm.
And we were I wouldn't say we were losing on it, but we weren't winning. We didn't see the downtime in it, all how much downtime we were having.
Got it.
So
Okay.
it's helped us upgrade our tooling now,
Okay.
and it showed us that we are breaking even, but we weren't making a bunch of money.
Got it.
So we went from like you're making a $500 profit on an
Hmm.
order. Now we're making thousands of dollars profit on an order just because we seen that
Got
and
it.
knew that we needed to improve it. And it was um, I know when I started, we weren't making nearly as much as we do now,
Uh-huh.
and we were doing it with more people. You know,
Right.
now
Right.
that we see the work orders and when they're due and how these machines are running these parts because we have four CNCs, three Swiss machines, a lathe machine, and a mill,
Hmm.
and just seeing how much it was costing for like our we make a arm pin for campers,
Okay.
and we'd have to two op it. We
Mm-hmm.
you don't make no money two opping things, you know.
Okay.
So
Sure.
that's really like we make thousands of them a year, and we're like, okay, we got to invest in a Swiss machine now. So we get the
Mm-hmm.
Swiss machine. Now we run these arm pins off complete,
Got it.
and now we're making money.
Yeah.
So
Plus, they
those are,
can run more intended, I'm sure, as
oh
well.
yeah. And then, there's some our cycle times. We had a 101. We quoted it at 10 seconds. This whole for years
You
we
quoted
were
it 10
run.
seconds and you're making it at 1 minute, 1 second?
No, we're
Sorry.
10 second. We quoted it at 10 seconds. We were running it at like 14 seconds the whole
Okay.
time. But
Okay.
we never seen that number. So
Mm,
when we started ProShop, we started seeing that number, and you notice right away it's a loser.
got
You're
it.
like, we make thousands of them, but we're losing on it. Like,
Sure.
it shouldn't be that way. But it's like, well, what's it running at now? Now we see a real number, and we're like, oh, okay, it was running good at that time. So we either need to go quote it different or get it to where it needs to be.
Hmm.
And most of the time, it's get it where it needs to be
Just
because,
make improvements to the process and dial it
yeah,
in better.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it was crazy when I started here, though. We had 9 machines down in the Acme multi-spindle department, and probably
Okay.
two or three of them didn't run for years, and had
Out
to
of nine, out of how many?
25 at the time we had.
20. Oh, wow. Okay. So a
Yeah,
third of them, more than a third.
yeah, and it finally got them all running. And that
So
was,
you dug into them, got in there,
yeah,
elbows deep, and
yeah.
fixed them and got them running
I
again.
I had a guy at Detroit Automatic. He schooled me a lot on stuff. A guy I could call every
Hmm.
day.
That's
Had
cool.
years of experience, taught me a lot of things, sent me books and stuff. Now, He's lucky if he hears from me every couple months. I'll call him every once in a while, ask him how fishing's going. but, but I'm real grateful for that guy. He's a great guy.
Well, that's awesome. So it sounds like just bringing visibility to things allowed the company to focus its improvement efforts in the right areas.
Yes.
And that's turned into dollars, of profit, which can be put back into the business for buying new machines, giving better raises, all the things. I know Chad puts back so much into the business.
Oh yeah, we would never even think about, 3 years ago, we would have never even thought about, giving people a bonus every quarter or every half a year or whatever, like never. Now we're bringing it up, it's getting brought up now. So I see in the next year or so, we'll be, being able to give people bonuses and stuff for how many parts they've run and stuff.
That's
and try
fantastic.
to, give them an award, for how good they're doing. I'm all about awards, I want to give everybody a belt. I want them all to be champions. So, if they can get better at it, great. But we can see it. So the visibility is just, any shop. I hate it when I hear of a place where, like my wife, where she's working now, they don't have an ERP system. Mm-hmm. And I hear the complications they're having with, having work orders and losing things or not having the parts. Where are the parts, and right. It's like, you guys need an ERP system,
Sure.
You need ProShop, because it drives me nuts when, you hear about all these things and all these efficiencies that just aren't the greatest. Because I sit down with her and I figure out their efficiencies for stuff. And it's like, you could be doing so much better if you just seen these things, because sure. Nobody's going to believe it until they see it. That's the nature of people,
Yeah, for sure.
So that's why, ProShop's such a great thing, that it's a visual thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel like there was more of a disconnect between the shop before and the office in terms of communication or information flow, which is now just more sort of seamlessly connected?
100%. Definitely, okay. You're somebody from the office trying to tell an operator what to do. Okay, you've never done this job. Who are you to come out here and tell me what to do? But right. now that like the people can see what they need to do, so they ain't getting caught off guard with something. You ain't coming out and telling them what to do. They already know what to do. Right. So the office and the operator stuff can connect so much better now, because you're both improving. The communication's there. You ain't shocked by hearing something, right. because you've already seen it. Hey, this got moved up on the list. Okay, right. All right, now we can talk about it. It ain't me. Hey, this got moved up the list. Are they gonna believe you half the time? Maybe, right. But now that they can see it, it's like, now it's moved up on the list. Get it done.
Sure.
And they don't argue about it most of the time.
Most of the time.
Well, they bicker often, but
sure.
You're still gonna go do it. You still want to do a great job. So
yeah. How I guess if you could kind of summarize, we already talked a little bit about, the kind of activities you were doing prior, and you can now focus your energy on different things today. How has that just had an impact on you personally, doing this digital transformation of the company?
It's made me more of an organized person. I'm more organized, I would say. I'm way more savvy with the computer.
That's cool.
But it's just, it's just a great feeling, that knowing that you're going to sleep and everything's taken care of. You're laying everything out there for everybody to see. So you don't have to worry as much, and people can trust you more. So, I'm a big person in trust. I like to feel that I'm a trusted person. I want them to feel like they can trust me. So, personally, it's just made me feel more secure, and I'm I'm not fighting to be heard anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
it's,
So it sounds like if you said going to bed. Does it let you sleep easier, less sort of stress, less things just kind of occupying your brain?
yeah. I can go home and I don't have to think about work. You know, I once I leave work, I know it's okay and I can leave.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not taking it home with me, um, which is great. I'm not a person that sits there and thinks long on something because I
Mm-hmm.
don't, I'm getting past it. We're done with it. We did it.
Right.
Tomorrow's a
Yeah. And
new
dwell
day.
on it. Yeah.
I'm a new day type of person, as I wake up great. I feel great. Let's just go tackle the day and uh, get shit done. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's how that's what Chad says all the time. He's like, if I want something done, I just ask you because you'll go out and do it. I said, yeah, yeah. Or I'll make somebody else do it. That's why they hate coming up to me and saying, hey, I got an idea. Ooh,
Right.
man, I can't wait to hear it because we're going to do something great. And
I
yeah,
love that so much.
yeah.
Um, well, cool. Any other thoughts you want to share about what the impact of working with ProShop has been on you or the company over the last couple of years?
Pull the trigger. Don't wait,
Oh, okay. So
pull the
advice to
trigger.
others: pull the trigger, just do
Yeah,
it.
that's all I want to do is give advice to others. There ain't nothing, I just want to pass on knowledge and, make everybody feel like they're being heard and they're wanted. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you're in a company where you're not wanted, get out. There's a place that does want you.
That's sage advice. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Daniel, I can tell you, Chad is super lucky to have you on the team. I love the energy that you clearly bring to your job and to the company, and to being a pro shop evangelist as well. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. But yeah,
You're welcome.
you're kind of a dream employee, I'm sure, for for any company. So,
I
but
I try
everyone
to
can
be.
tell how much you
Yeah.
love Hibshman. So
Yeah.
so no poaching Daniel, no trying to poach Daniel,
Yeah.
for anyone listening.
It
But
does happen. It happens. It's a good feeling,
sure,
I like to feel like I got opportunities,
absolutely, yeah.
I'm never I always hear out the opportunities, but the opportunity I have here just beats them all,
Yeah.
I'm at home right here, My uncle lives across the street. So
Hmm.
like I can walk, my car breaks down, I can walk home. Well, I'm not walking home. I'm not walking that far because somebody knows me and they're gonna stop and see me. So and everybody here is family. Chad's family. I love that guy.
Hmm.
I've never met somebody that's so giving in my life. So it's pretty great to have him as a
Yeah.
coach and a friend. I guess a boss too. I don't know. I don't
Hmm.
like using that boss word. I like using leader. He's a leader.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
Well, it sounds like he's investing a lot in you to be a leader as well. So
yep,
I think that's the hallmark of a great leader, is investing in others to do the same.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, Daniel, thank you for sharing everything. I'm so glad we got to talk, a few weeks back, and decide to get you on the show, do a little bit of a different perspective with manufacturing transformed. I know, as you've said, that getting involved in machining has really been a life transformation for you, and I'm so grateful that ProShop is at least a small part of helping Hibshman succeed and win, and you by you as well. So thanks for sharing your story. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. And you're not a small part. You're a pretty big part in here. So you know,
Well, it
I
makes the honor even better. So
I got the big pro shop flyer out there and everything, so everybody can see it. And so yeah,
I love
definitely.
it. Well,
I
Daniel, thanks
appreciate
for
it.
thanks for joining us today and sharing your story. I know a lot of people will be inspired, and yeah, just we'll see you around. And thanks
Yeah,
again.
yeah, thank you.
All right,
All
have a
right.
good one.
You
Bye bye.
too. And bye.
Hey, buddy, how's it going today?
Oh, it's going good. I'm excited to talk about this one.
Yeah, this episode is a different one. So, um, as you know, Manufacturing Transformed, the podcast is about, the transformation stories of our customers with ProShop.
Yeah, their
But I was
business
talking,
transformations. Yeah,
yep,
yeah.
yep, digital transformation, all those things. But this one's a much more personal story. I was talking to an employee of one of our customers. His name is Daniel, and he works at Hibshman Screw Machine Products. You know Chad.
I do.
He's been on the podcast. Great customer, inspiring story, their business. But I was talking to Daniel at an NTMA event. Actually, Cara and I were both there.
Ah,
And he was
nice.
telling us about how big of an impact manufacturing has had on his whole life. He grew up quite poor. His dad was in jail for drugs. His older brother went to jail for drugs. Um, and he started working at a hog farm when he was 12 years old and worked there all the way through his teen years till he was 18. Found a job at another machine shop, really had a knack for it, loved it. Ultimately ended up at Hibshman, where he's gone from a machinist to a manager. He met his wife, who's also in manufacturing, who's a lean champion at another company. So he's all about lean. He just has such an amazing story about how the manufacturing industry and this manufacturing career he's now in and excelling at has transformed his personal life. And that was for many years before Hibshman got ProShop, but then how ProShop has really helped to amplify the success that the whole company and he's had in the intervening years since they put ProShop in. So it just pulled at my heartstrings when I heard this story. I'm like, we got to tell this on the podcast. He's not the owner. It's not all about business transformation, but it's certainly about personal, and it does tie in with business. And it was a really meaningful thing to be able to get to do and have him on. And he says, ProShop's had such a huge impact on him personally. And I know that aligns so well with the mission statement that you care so deeply about. And it's bringing it down to the communities, right, which is part of the mission. And here's like a direct correlation, an example of us helping do that well. So I thought you'd really enjoy hearing that.
So love that, and I think it's incredibly generous and brave of him to talk about his story and the hardship he was definitely enduring, and also his maybe luck, but maybe wisdom in getting into a manufacturing job and becoming a machinist that he was obviously talented for. I love that part of the story. And then, of course, as he grows and excels in the manufacturing space, and then runs into ProShop and feels like it's one of those things that supercharges it for him. That's where we really are like, oh, this is the extra impact that as a company and as a mission, like you said, we can actually do and affect people personally. And I love that his wife's in manufacturing and they're on the lean journey, and it's fantastic.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a good one. And, it just brings it home to me about the personal impact that we can have, on not only companies, but on people within those companies. So just feel really good about that. Fills
awesome.
my heart. I know it does.
I can't wait for the episode. Can't wait for it. Sounds great.
All right. Well, thanks, Betty. Good talking to you as always.
Back soon.